What's up, family? It's your boy Jaheim President, the founder, the host of Legacy Builders Podcast. We're back with another episode of your favorite podcast. It's your boy, it's your preacher, it's your teacher, it's your uncle, it's your favorite host, it's whatever you want to call me today. It's Jaheim President. As we're kind of wrapping up this season about movement, this season about just everything. And today I want to ask you this question: why are you still worried? Why are you still worried? Can I tell you this? Worriedness and anxiety wraps our culture so much to the point where it has a ability to gripple and to capture our whole mind, that we don't even move forward and we don't even possess those things that'll make us great and that'll make us and help us to become. And so I was preparing myself for 2025, and can I tell you this? I was worried because the spirit of worriness and spirit of anxiety hit me like a rushing wind on Wednesday. Like, I don't kid you not, because it was sometimes the the vision is so great, the vision is so big that it'll have you gripple, and it'll have your mind in playing tricks on itself, making up different scenarios. Have you ever been there in your life where you started to make up different scenarios about the outcome before actually doing the thing? And for a long time, that's where I lived at. And sometimes it'll flare up when you start to worry about some things, you start to worry about some places, you start to worry about some people and connections, and you start to play many scenarios in your head before you can do it. And so sometimes in life, we'll listen to the scenarios more than we'll listen to the environment and to the things that are telling you to go. And so this past week, as I'm anticipating and as I'm planning out 2025, the first quarter of 2025, I got a little worried because I started to ask the question: is this too great? Is this too large? Is this dream even accountable? Is this dream even achievable? Is this dream even doing? And when I was thinking about it, I was like, why are you still worrying, Jaheim? Why are you still, what about your mind? What is it that stops you from going? And what I was learning this week, and it was popping up in my head. What stops people from going is because they see something and they know it can succeed, but some of us are scared of achieving great things because society has put us in and has kind of limited us in our desires. Some of us, our dream truly is just not too big, is our function of our life is too small. Because when you're in a season where everything may be hard, you're in a season where everything may be rough, if you're in a season where everything may be going different, you start to worry, and you start to not put your plan to action. And here it is. Here's the dangerous things of worrying. Worrying affects your mind and it affects your heart. And when these two things are in disarray, your life becomes disarray. And let me say this: when your mind is cluttered, you start making rash decisions. You start doing things that no longer are good for you. You start doing things that you know good and well you need to put down. And what that becomes is you start to cope. You start to cope. And many of us, we live in a state of coping. Some of us, and I talked about this in the grief episode, some of us are still grieving, but I'm not telling you how to grieve. Some of us are so grieving, but we, instead of facing the grief head on, we're coping. And coping could look like, well, you're drinking too much. Coping could look like you're eating too much. Coping could look like you're in relationships with people you know you don't need a relationship. Coping could be like you having too much sex. Coping could be like you're doing this. And so I want to talk today about really relieving us from that coping and from that worry state. And can I tell you this? I'm not gonna say you're never gonna worry about things, because that's so unrealistic, but you have to put the worrying, and you really have to put the what's really happening and what's going to happen. It has to balance. Okay, so some of us, we're so ego-eyed that we want to plan everything to the T. And I was like that. My life, I promise you, my life was, if you asked me in 11th grade, my life was planned to the T. And so I started to get worried, and I started to live in the state. 2023, so from 2000, I would say from 2020 to 2023, I was in this constant state of worriness. I was in this constant state of of fragileness mentally, because I was going through college, and many of us who's gotten their degree, or many of us who's gone to college, you start to get anxious about a lot of things, because you got to catch the class at a certain time. You got to make sure you're on the track to get this paper, this degree. And so what I've learned, but it then started to trickle into everything in my life. So I started to worry, will I get the job I want? I started to worry, will I be able to be financially stable? Would I start worrying? Da, 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 da. And so much so, when I got the degree, I started to worry about the next thing. I started to worry about, okay, now I got the job. Okay, how am I going to move all the way up here to Greenville? How am I going to do that? And so the first half of my first year of teaching, I was living in a state of worriness, because I couldn't enjoy being in the moment. Mm. And many of us, that's our problem. We can't enjoy being in the moment, is because we're trying to get this, we're trying to get that, become we're trying to be successful, we're trying to get married, we're trying to be in a relationship, we're trying to do this. And so that robs us, that expectation robs us of the joy of being in the moment. And so the opposite of being in the moment is living in worry, because now you're too busy trying to check off boxes, you're too busy trying to do this. And that is what society has has labeled us, is now is we're always trying to check off a box. Okay, when we're like, okay, 20 by 25, we got to do this by 25. And I'm not saying don't be goal oriented, but I'm saying there's a difference between being goal oriented, and there's a difference between living in worry. And I think many of us, because of this culture, because of this fast-paced culture, we are living in a state of worriness. And what the danger of this that can be is, it starts to lead into our health. There's no way you should be taking pills at this so and so age. No way you should be doing this and doing that. It's because now your mind cannot rest. And I made it a point last week, when this thing happened, I literally shut down all social media. I put my phone by my bed on the charger, and I literally watched TV, and I literally wind down my mind and told my mind it is okay to rest, and to not be in all the time. And can I tell you this? Your mind needs some rest. That's why vacations, that's why getaways, that's why doing this, doing that, having hobbies are so important for you, especially in this day and age, is because our mind is always da 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 da. Da. Even honestly, it comes to the point, and I faced this last week. I was having some crazy dreams, is because my mind was always da 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 da. And so I was starting to dream the things that I was worrying about. And so one night, oh God, I had to force myself to wake up. And when I woke up, I watched TV. Is because my mind was at rest. And so today, I want to encourage you today to let your mind breathe. It's okay for you to not always be on top of things. It's okay for you to chill out and relax. It's okay for you to do this. And this season of movement as we enter the next year, as we leave out and close out this year. What I've learned is the spirit of rest is so important. And sometimes the spirit of rest is not just rest from other people, but sometimes it's rest from the image and the thing that you're trying to portray all the time. Can I tell you this? Can I tell you this? It is okay for you to be you for you. Let me say that again. It's okay for you to be you for you. Sometimes stop putting on the show. Can I do this? Stop. You know what? Look, I had to tell myself this. I don't have to be Mr. President, the teacher, Jaheim, the preacher, all the time. And sometimes those titles, those personas, sometimes they get old, and sometimes I get tired. And so what I've learned is in this month, uh, even in y'all, it's so crazy. It started to trickle down even in my weight loss journey, because now I'm like, okay, well, people were complimenting me on boy, you go to the gym every day, and so now even when my body was telling me to rest, even when some friends were telling me, Jaheim, okay, it's okay not to go, I made it in my mind that, oh no, I gotta keep up this image and stuff like that. And so literally for the last 2 weeks, I haven't been going to the gym, and I felt a little bit better because I was able to relax and get some rest. And so what I've learned is I have to, even though I have a strong presence, even though I'm in this podcast journey, even though I'm in this and that, I gotta learn. Okay, it stops sometimes. Sometimes I gotta close the camera, pretty say. Sometimes I gotta close the world, and I gotta say, what does Jaheim need in this moment? And what I'm telling you is, you have to do the same thing. You have to sometimes close out the world, sometimes close out the things that are hindering you, and you have to be okay with just being with you. Because can I tell you this, some of us don't even know how to love ourselves and be with ourselves alone. You may be looking at some people who always around people, and in high school there were some people that gotta always be around people, gotta always be around this, and I was like, and I had that same personality. I was always have to be with friends. I would always have to do this. I have to always be with somebody, do this, be in a relationship, da da da. And so my junior year, going up into my senior year, really, I learned how to be okay and to be with me alone. And it is okay. And I really had to learn this. It is okay to be alone. And some of my friends were calling me loners or whatever. Well, oh, Jaheim, he never want to hang out with us. No, it's not that I didn't want to hang out with them. Is that I was starting again to learn who I was and who I was meant to be, and learning what I liked and learning what I didn't like, and learning how to shut this off. And so being in that education world, being in that teacher world, being in that preacher world, being, someone who just loves to give advice, I had to tell myself, Jaheim, power down, power down. And stop worrying, because I'd be worried about my students that I have great relationship with. I'd be worried about, my job, the status of my life. I'm in this master's program. Like, what's next? Grade, being in that academic grind. For those who are still in that academic grind, you know how it is. Making sure you get the assignment in, make sure you do this. No, 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 no. And so this is not really about rest. This really is a suggestion on how to deal with our worriedness, and how to deal with that spirit of it, anxiety, that thing that overtakes us, that feeling where you feel like you're not enough, and you feel like you're drowning, or being overwhelmed. How many of us in this last quarter the year we're overwhelmed because we have a holiday? So then most of us, we have the anticipation of being around family members who may be draining, being around coworkers who may be draining, or you could be in the spirit where you're grieving. And so this holiday cheer that's being pushed on you could be hard right now, because the loss of a loved one doesn't make holidays feel the same anymore. And so so now you're in that battle between having to put on a front for them, and also having to be to put on a front for you. And so today, whenever you listen to it, I want to encourage you, and I want to tell you, it is okay for you to sometimes not be okay. I mean, there are certain things now, even when I'm, I'm better in my grieving process, but there's certain things or certain moments or certain things that remind me of my granddaddy, and I will begin to go through that process of grief, and it's okay for the people that are dependent on you. It's okay to have that conversation with them and say, "Hey, y'all, I know you're dependent on me. Hey, y'all, I know you love me, but I have to set boundaries. I have to put systems in place so that when I am not okay, it is not that I don't feel like the world is crumbling because I'm not okay." Because some of us you're listening to me, and some of us, you need somebody to tell you the world is not going to end if you don't have everything in line. Let me say that again. The world is not going to end if you don't have everything in line. I promise you, the world is going to keep on spinning. I promise you, e- everything is going to keep on going. But here's the thing: is you have to be in line, and you have to align yourself with the goals you have, but you also have to align with yourself when your spirit, even your body, even the world around you is telling you to pause and to be okay with the pause. And I know trust me, it's easier said than done. I know it is. But today, this podcast and this episode is not really about telling you to go get it, and we are going to go get everything that we have in store for us. But I want you to say it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah, you're going to be okay. But I need you to stop worrying. Everything's going to fall into place in its time. I need you to stop worrying. You're going to you're going to check off the list, and sometimes some things on your list is going to be removed for something better. I promise you, it is, and you're still gonna be able to make it to destiny and the purpose, but you can't. Here it is. You can't make it to destiny and the purpose, and once you get there, you're so exhausted by the journey. That's not what the journey is about. The journey is about teaching you valuable lessons to strengthen you, to add more things to your armor. So when you get to your destiny, to your place, to your purpose, to things that the life that you want to live, you can shine bright, and you can stand tall. So the journey is not to rip you apart and to make you feel more depleted. So by the time you get to where you need to go, you feel, you know, you feel unsatisfied. No, I don't want that for you. I want you to feel satisfied in your journey. I want you to feel satisfied in where you're going. All right. So today I wasn't doing my hoorah hoorah. I want to just have that honest conversation with those who are out here worrying. People out here worrying. How they gonna give their kids a successful Christmas. You know, love. Show love. People worrying about this and that. No, no, no. Don't worry. It's all gonna fall to place in time, at the right time. But we need you to be in the best shape mentally, physically, and emotionally you can be when you get there. And sometimes that's just saying, hey, not okay, but I'll be okay. So, whew, that was a great conversation, family. If you're not following me on Instagram, what are you doing? Follow me at Call Me Prez. And then also follow us at YouTube, Jaheim President TV. We're gonna be going all the way up on YouTube. I'm excited about what's gonna happen in the YouTube world. Also follow us on Instagram as well as Legacy Builders Podcast. We have everything there. Follow us on Spotify, like us, leave some reviews, leave some comments, leave some things, and realize it's okay not to be okay all the time. It's okay not to be okay all the time. I promise you it is. I love your family. I will see you next week. Next week's gonna be great. Love you, family.